Hey everybody, welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I want to answer a question that is getting thrown around a lot. Is a BMW 7 Series really expensive to keep maintained? So today we're going to be doing some online shopping to put that rumor or those questions to rest and actually find out if it's truly expensive to own a 7 Series versus another car or even another BMW. It's widely known that the 7 Series, the higher classes of Mercedes and Audi, are oftentimes very expensive to keep maintained. But if you're doing the maintenance yourself, how true is that? If you're actually working on the car at home in your own garage, is it truly as expensive as people are saying? Also, another subject that gets thrown around a lot is that BMW 7 Series are difficult to work on. Considering that 7 Series oftentimes share similar models and transmissions to other cars of a 3 Series or a 5 Series, is it actually more difficult to work on a 7 Series than another BMW? So in our last E38 video, we went through and made a list of all the things that we need to get for the car. The list has been revised a little bit based on some more investigation from the inside of the engine bay of things that aren't needed to be replaced. So I have my new revised list. We're gonna be hopping onto ECS Journey, which is where I get the majority of my parts from. We're gonna be throwing everything into a shopping cart and see how expensive it is to actually get this 7 Series back up and running like it should. So I mostly use ECS Tuning. The odds are if ECS Tuning doesn't have it, they can get a hold of it. And if it's cheaper somewhere else, most of the time they price match. So I want to go over my list real quick of some of the things that we're going to be doing. So we're going to be looking for a valve cover. It's the V8s. We need a left and right valve cover. We are going to be getting a timing chain tensioner. This helps keep the timing chain guides in this V8 healthy. So we're going to replace the tensioner. We're going to be getting a fuel filter, transmission pan gasket, power steering reservoir and filter, the hood and trunk struts. Then we'll be getting some power steering fluid. It doesn't need spark plugs, but we're gonna be doing them since we're gonna have the top of the engine apart. We're gonna be getting a full oil change, some BMW coolant, and then we're gonna be looking for some suspension for the car. So let's go on here real quick. You can shop by searching it or going by brand name, but oftentimes it's better to just go by vehicle. So here is BMW. I'm gonna do 7 Series, chassis E38, model 740i, and the engine is the M62 4.4 liter. Now that we've got our vehicle entered in here, we're just going to look up the parts. So ECS Tuning oftentimes has many different distributors, including BMW themselves. The very first one that we see here is an L-Ring. I think that's how you say that company's name. I've had parts by them before and they work really well. So we're just going to grab these first two here. It says left and the right set. So we're just gonna add both those to the cart. All right, so we got the valve cover gaskets. Looks like it's gonna be about 34 bucks, which is actually pretty inexpensive. I think even the straight 6 is actually more expensive than that. So that's kind of surprising. So let's go to our lower oil pan gasket. And again, first on our list is that L-Ring brand that I, again, have previous experience with. Victor Rines is another one that I've used before. There's not a lot of options here, but we're just gonna go with that one there. It's not the cheapest, but it's not the most expensive. I'm not sure if that's a smart way to buy things necessarily, but we'll just kind of keep them all the same brand. So here is a timing chain tensioner right here. This one actually is the same company that made the one that I put in my race car when I did a rebuild on it. So that one actually looks pretty good, and these other ones are different years, so we're just going to grab this one. Again, not a lot of options for fuel filters, and it looks like a lot of these are actually meant for different years. So it looks like the only one I'm going to be able to purchase this Phoebe one here for $17. It's not a bad price for one of those, and then go on to our next item. So the power steering reservoirs on these BMWs always leak. I'm not sure what the deal is with them, and it doesn't matter who you get them from, they just kind of always leak. And oftentimes these little nipples here at the bottom will actually bust, or the gasket on the cap goes bad. And as you can see here, the prices for them are not that expensive. So we're just gonna grab this one here, since this one's on sale, 50% off. $7 for one of those is not a bad price at all. So I actually did do some research on the hood and trunk struts. I'm gonna get this brand Stabilis. Supposedly it is as close to BMW OEM quality and make as you can get. And I believe the BMW ones are like $300 for the set. So we're just gonna get these ones here, and then we will move on to our next item. We're gonna grab a genuine BMW 1 liter power steering fluid. and then we're gonna look up an oil change kit. So when it comes to oil changes on this car, I actually wanna try Liqui-Moly out. These are being pushed pretty hard by ECS Tuning. I've heard a lot of really good things about these ones. And this one here for $69.80 comes with a filter. That's pretty cool. We will add this to the cart and then move on to our next item. So we're gonna get some coolant here. Looks like they actually have genuine BMW coolant on sale for $20 for a gallon that is 100% strength. So that's a pretty good deal actually. So we are gonna add that to the cart. And we're actually gonna get 2 of those since you're always spilling coolant everywhere. So we're gonna look up some spark plugs and see what some of our options are for those. Some Bosch ones, some more Bosch, some more Bosch. So it looks like Bosch is probably the OEM replacement for that car. And we're not looking for anything super fancy. So we'll just make sure we get 8 of these and then we will move on. So this is all the maintenance that we're gonna be getting for the car at the moment. $441, that's free shipping because we are over $49. ECS Tuning does that for the majority of their parts that they've got. And we've got a couple things here that won't ship for a couple of days. $440 to get your car, all your fluids changed, and just kind of go through and replace a bunch of gaskets, spark plugs. That's actually a really good price. The real question here, is it overly expensive to own a 7 Series versus any other BMW? And by these numbers, I'm gonna say absolutely not. This is no more or less expensive than any 3 Series. And actually based on some of the math I've done in the past, looking at some of the vehicles that my family members have owned, I have a brother who owned a 98 Civic and it was about the same price to keep maintained as my 2001 BMW. And when you look at shop rates, that gap gets a little bit bigger. So is the 7 Series gonna be super expensive to maintain? No, especially not this year. It's gonna be extremely similar to the 5 Series and the 3 Series of the same era. So before we leave, I wanna go look at some suspension because I'm actually really excited to get some suspension ordered and see some of the options that these companies have for an E38 7 Series. So we're gonna go over here to suspension and then we are going to select coilovers. And the first thing they have here listed is some BC Racing, ST suspension, KWs, Port Tune Auto, never heard of those guys. Godspeed, heard of them before. Some ISC suspension, again, never really heard of them. And on page 2 we have K-Sport, CA tuned, and then some assembled by ECS Tuning, looks like rebuild kits maybe, and then some genuine BMW. So I actually own some K-Sports on the race car. So these Control Pros here are the exact same ones that I have on my race car. So for $11.05, so $1,105, you can get those. I think I paid like $50 less for mine, so that is not a bad price right there. But I have heard a lot of really good things about BC, so I want to go back over here to the BCs and look at those. So BC Racing is a name thrown around in the BMW forums and the BMW Facebook pages a lot. These are really good coilovers, and for around $1,000, it's going to be very difficult to beat these, and these are $100 less expensive than the K-Sports that I have on my car. I will have to consult with David just a little bit more before I pull the trigger on these ones specifically, but I really think that if we're going to be replacing the suspension, we should spend a couple $100 extra. Most suspension replacements, if you want to just do a direct swap to what you used to have, kind of an OEM replacement one, it's going to be about $700 or $800. So for about $200 more, we could do something fun like this and have it fully adjustable. And I believe BC Racing and a couple of these other brands actually have really good warranties on them. And it does look like it fits our exact model. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna go with these BCs. Don't quote me on that quite just yet, because I do need to give David a call, verify that I'm allowed to buy these for the car. But I really wanna try out these BC Racing. If anybody has any experience with BC Racing, comment in the comment section below. Let me know how they've been for you or your friend. Were they good? Were they bad? Because I would really like to know before we get these ordered. I really want to try these out. I've heard a lot of really good things about them. Well, there you have it. The BMW 7 Series is no more or less expensive to keep maintained than a 3 Series. Now, this is an older 7 Series, so I'm assuming most of the newer ones will be a little bit more expensive, but if you do the work yourself, you can greatly reduce the running cost of owning a BMW 7 Series. So we got the shopping cart all set up. It looks like it's going to be just over $1,500 with sales tax. I just am waiting for everybody to kind of get back on me on how those BC Racing coilovers are actually going to perform on a car like this, if it's a smart idea or not, or should we go with a different brand of coilovers. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we will see you in the next video.